I must say I am a bit emotional to be here because it was a lot of work to organize this, but mainly because I have to catch up and have like 4 speakers telling us things about ECI in practice to speak in 45 minutes. So I would invite you on stage while I set the scene, please. And an applause to them. Yeah, Maria too. And Tatjana. Yeah. So now I would start. This is me. Okay. With a little introduction. I think that you may have heard about the fact that we did with the EASPD a position paper on family-centered ECI. If you did develop the app, it's on the app. You go on the document page and you can sign it, share it, talk about it, and use it. We did it. I will tell a bit more about the process in the next slide, but for a series of reasons, because ECI is an acronym we don't hear in Europe. We don't hear at national level often, unless we have children with disabilities or we happen working in that. So we tried to do a paper in order to raise awareness and to create a common vision around family-centered ECI, and also to build partnership around it. And on the one hand, highlight what are the barriers to move towards this model as a system and as a service, and provide recommendations to national and EU policymakers. We started that with the member forum, so a working group of the members of the EASPD working on this topic. We drafted it and we sent it around to different organizations from the child rights field, from the disability field, from the family field, in order to get their feedback. And they endorsed the document when it was launched in November, but others joined later and signed it. And now we are at around 30 organizations around Europe that signed it, and you can do that too. As an individual or as an organization. So here, this is the theoretical starting point of this panel, and it's also what you heard a lot in these introductory speeches. I will say a little bit about it before we go into the discussion. So, as we understood, acting early is fundamental. So ECI, a good ECI is early and continuous. So it happens for a long time until there is a result obtained in the development of the child. It is family-centered. I mean, this is the topic of the conference. It has to happen in partnership with the families. It should happen in the home and in the place where the family and the child spend their time, and pass the competencies and coach the family members and the people that spend time with the child in order for them to be able to support the child. It's based on a social model of disability, which says that disability is a combination between an impairment and a social barrier. So it also acts upon the barriers. It's about creating and giving tools for better inclusion that can be devices, that they can be also like a more inclusive community. Is intensive because it must get results in this strategic moment where the brain is developing and where there is a higher impact when you act, but also done together with the family. So intensive as long as this is done for the family well-being. ECI must be accessible, so arrive to all the parts of a country, not only in the big cities, and affordable for the families, not only for those who can pay for it. Transdisciplinary, integrating, and team-based is very complicated. We have someone talking about that, but it means there are different professionals working together on a common goal, and it's providing something that is not speech therapy and the other therapy and the other therapy, but a common intervention. And based on a team which is not only the professional, but includes also the family. Is even individualized, so every plan is tailored to the needs and the goals of the family and the child, and evidence-based. This is not invented, but is based on science and research. And is based on the best interest and the participation of the child, meaning that professionals that are well trained are able also to understand what a child is communicating and go in a direction that is benefiting the child, and find ways to make the child participate as much as possible in setting the goals and in making them happen. So just to sum up, you heard that as well. ECI is fundamental because it happens in a moment that doesn't come back. It's fundamental because it doesn't look at the child alone, but also at the family, and provides to the family with guidance and support. And ECI is very much linked to the concept of inclusive education. It prepares the child to enter into early childhood education and care and into school. And when it works in a good way, it's also preparing the child to overcome the problems that he or her may have in entering in school. And all this together can make a better and happier adult with better opportunities for fulfilling life. Here, it's just an image to show the paradigm shift from a situation where you have a lot of intervention around the child, where the parents are connected to the child, but not so much connected to the different professionals that work with the child, that are not connected with each other either. And to another vision where you have a team. So the team is all together. It's not only, it's the child in a way is also part of the team. You have the parents, the siblings, the grandparents, and different professionals, and they work together. And in many models, you also have a key worker, which is the person that goes to the family and set the goals and interacts with the family, so that the family has one message that comes and it's easier and more coordinated. So now we can go to the panel. And we will start with the, we don't go into all the principle of the previous slide. We have family-centered with Agapi Papadaki, and online we will have a video, but it's following us, Yiannis Fratzeskakis. They are referred to Amimoni in Greece, which is one of the services that is pioneering family-centered ECI. We work together with them at EASPD. We also work together with them with the ECI project that you will learn about tomorrow. And Agapi, he's managing the programs of ECI, and we will talk together on how the family-centered element can be triggered in services. Then we go to Croatia with Tatjana, who is the director of Malidom, which is another service that is very interesting and with a long history of around 20 years. And she will talk to us about the element of how the professionals can work together in a common team. Then we go to the US with Maria, that also has Greek roots, and who is the associate director of the early intervention training program. So with her, we will look into the individualized and evidence-based elements. And finally, we go back here to Albania with Eljona, who is the national director of World Vision Albania, that has a very long career in promoting human and social rights. And we will talk about their program to bring ECI in rural areas. So I would now leave the word to Yiannis, that is with us virtually.
Hello, everyone. Greetings from Greece. My name is Yiannis Fratzeskakis, and I'm really honored to attend this conference. My aim is to deliver a message concerning the importance of early intervention. In 2017, my daughter Artemis was born with congenital cataracts. Soon, we found out there was a gene mutation that affected her vision and her neurological system in general, causing developmental delays. Thankfully, our concern led our way to Amimoni, the Pan-Hellenic Association of Parents, Guardians, and Friends of People with Vision Problems and Additional Disabilities. We attended an early intervention program that helped significantly in dealing with 3 major challenges. Challenge number 1. Were we ready to handle the overload of information on health issues regarding our own child? Certainly not. Could we comprehend the details on these medical issues and their effect in our child's future? Of course not. Well, Amimoni has a team of specialists who provided us with all the necessary information about our child's condition and guidance on how to provide her the best medical care available. Most important, they didn't see Artemis as a medical case, but as a human being with medical needs. Challenge number 2. Conventional therapy services in Greece are provided by therapy centers, which offer mainly speech therapy and occupational therapy sessions. Regularly, there is some feedback on the goals we need to reach and the necessary exercises to be repeated at home. Yeah, right. Do they have any idea on our daily needs? Do they know how our house looks like? What are the toys that Artemis loves to play with? Do they know the difficulties that we might be facing in everyday routine? Absolutely not. And believe me, we are lucky to have great people treating our child. But the problem is fundamental. Their perspective is not family-centered. On the contrary, Amimoni specialists visited our home. They played with Artemis and her toys and brought us new toys to help her exercise her vision and help her achieve things easier. They went to the park with us and gave us guidance on how to help her move around better. They provided us with solutions on everyday difficulties and guidance on how to help her increase her self-confidence and independence, which is so important to us. Their help has been priceless. Artemis is doing really good today. Challenge number 3, family life. You know, me and my wife, we need to work. We need to do so many things in daily life, like everyone else. We're also part of a community. We need to see our friends and relatives, and definitely we need to have some fun and be happy as a family. Do you think that's easy? With all the doctors and therapists and all the stress involved? Well, believe me, it's not easy at all. Amimoni provided us with parent counseling. They got really close to us and offered us the understanding and the support we needed through difficult times, and the encouragement to stay positive and prioritize everything and help ourselves to continue our lives normally. They helped us. We felt being supported. And that feeling is so important for us. And in that way, we have been capable to provide the best for our child and make her feel happy. I'm sorry for being so emotional, but even if I would record this video 1,000 times, it would be the same, because Amimoni stood by our family. And it's very important that states provide early intervention services to every family so that every family can benefit like our family did. Thank you for listening to me. Best wishes from Greece.
And actually, yeah, Yiannis can hear us. So yeah, it's connected. Yeah, exactly. It was, I mean, it's such a pity that he cannot be here with us. Of course, as a father of a child with disability, it's not so easy to travel around. But I think that his intervention gives another taste, than rather than experts or people supporting, talking about a topic, having someone that lives it. And I think that what he was explaining as well was giving a sense of how a parent can be lost at the beginning and how it does make a difference to have someone to accompany them in the path. And that's what Amimoni does. And so, I mean, I wanted to ask you, Agapi, to tell us in the practical way, from your point of view, how you work, how your organization works with parents like Yiannis to provide support.
First of all, it's not only Yiannis who is being emotional. We are all emotional after his testimony. And I always feel that we don't have enough words to thank him about advocating and sharing his experience, because this is the only way to explain what the impact of this, of a family-centered ECI program is. And the important thing about him is that, of course, he came to us when I think his little girl, Artemis, was 6 to 9 months old, something like that. And they will graduate as a family from our program because now she's 6. So the age limit is there, so they will graduate. And we are very happy to really have them empowered, because it didn't start this way. They came to us really confused and really reluctant, and with many unstructured challenges to face. And what we actually did together with them is that we tried to structure their daily life in order to be more effective, more happy, to help them be able to solve their own problems. Because actually what we did, although it's from his speech, it doesn't look like that, they did everything. We didn't arrange for the doctors, we didn't arrange for their family and free time, we didn't arrange for everything. We just helped them to clear their minds and make the steps that they needed to do in order to create well-being environment for the child and their family. So he's the best advocate for us, and it's not always the same with all the families. So this is something that we need to testify, because this is best example that one can have, but it's not always the same. And Yiannis and his wife, of course, were very willing to cooperate and to get involved and to get in the process. But not all families are, because some of them are so traumatized by what has happened to them, and they are not very used to take the responsibility of their own life. Sometimes it's easier and more, it looks like it's more easier for them to give the responsibility to therapists, to doctors, to a segregated system, because they cannot stand what has happened to them. And here I want to tell you that Amimoni is responsible, is providing ECI services to children with visual impairments and additional disabilities from 0 to 6. And we need to know that because most of the children have a severe condition, and parents have extremely high challenges to confront. So this is something that we need to take into consideration about when we talk about the difficulties of the parents, because it's not the same for everyone. Now, concerning the challenges that we have internally as a program, when we want to provide ECI services, the three factors that are structural to the program are the environment, as we heard in all the previous presentations, which is the natural environment. For us, natural environment is firstly the house of the family. So we do weekly visits to the house. So this is where it happens. The early intervention services happen there, but not only, because some children live in institutions. We have children who live in hospitals because they have been taken away from their parents due to neglect, and they are in hospital units with no reasons, having no stimuli from the outside world. So we go there. Sometimes we go to diverse home settings like the Roma places, which is very different to what we are maybe used to in Greece. So we have refugee families that are living in Greece. They don't speak the language. They have no accessibility to services sometimes. So we need to guide them through this. In any case, their children have to have visual impairment. This means that for all other type of disabilities, services, ECI services, family center services are not available like this type of services. Okay, they are provided through centers, yes, but not like that. So the environment of the child after the 3 first years may also include their nursery, their school. We make the transition, we speak to the teachers. We also visit the therapists, we communicate with them, with the family's network, the doctors. We contact them and try to clarify and coordinate the list of all the diverse, all the entities that form this network. We have to help them manage a little bit this situation and to create the links between them, because sometimes it's not coordinated and it's completely segregated. So the first challenge comes with this. So we have this one person, the agent, the early interventionist. It is called in a different way according to the systems that we will see today. We have one person who goes to the family. He knows everything about the family and he talks to the family and he creates this very important bond of trust. Then he comes to the interdisciplinary team. He comes back to the office and there are all the therapists, special scientists, and all the appropriate support group to assist him in to perform his task. So this is a very important part of this ECI program. What is happening back office? Because he's not alone. One person cannot handle all the different type of requests and difficulties and challenges that one family has to face. We are not superheroes, no one is. So every person that goes into a house needs to be fully supported with supervision, with training, with a very strong team spirit, with respect in-house. Whatever we say that a parent needs, a professional needs it as well. It's the same. We are equal, but it's equal both sides. It's not that we are not the experts to the parents, but it's also the other way around. We professionals have the same needs as parents. So the professionals have to be treated the same way, with the same respect, acknowledging their needs, very specific needs, not common ones. Sometimes they are burned out. Sometimes they need to debrief. Sometimes they cannot make space to include the parent frustration, the parent anger that may arise. Because, of course, we have Mr. Yiannis Fratzeskakis, who is an empowerment for us to keep on going, but it's not always this way. And we do not blame the parents, but we cannot expect one person to be able to handle all this. So the skills that are required are more than scientific, highly educated people. It's much more than that. And even the creation of the team, it's very important, but I think you will
actually
speak about it.
it's
Yes. I'm not going to.
You answer to my 3 questions.
Okay.
Very well, but think about, maybe if we have time, we can go back and look at the barriers that
But
we need.
One thing to close, this program is not being supported by any funding from the state up to now. So Amimoni had to go out and find private funding for this. But sustainability and viability of these programs is not something to be challenged. If one family comes into your program, you must be able to finish, to complete. You cannot say, I'm out of money, I stopped, I change personnel every 2 years. It's not feasible, it doesn't work this way. So financial feasibility, viability and sustainability is a very strong challenge that we face, and the parents do not know it, but we do. So more than the work that we have to do with the families and with the provision of ECI, we are doing this as well. And we need to develop programs, innovative approaches, burnout-free European program. We will talk about it in the next workshops in this conference, in order to cover the needs of these programs and the professionals and the parents. Thank you very much. And thank you very much, Yiannis.
Yeah. And yeah, thanks to you, Agapi. I mean, there are so many things that you said that could be further elaborated and are very useful for us. They will be also connected to our next panel, where we will talk about the system. But I would move now to the transdisciplinary element that was anticipated already by Agapi. So, as mentioned, Malidom, which is a service in Zagreb, uses this approach for a long time now. And Tatjana has a long history in working there and now directing the service. So I would like to know from you, how does it work? And how did you get there? Was it difficult to move? Because we are talking here again about a paradigm shift. We had a model that was different therapists working together along with the families, and now we have another kind of model. So let us know about it.
Yeah, we are very similar. Our ECI is very similar as Amimoni. So we work as a team. We are I can say we are a very big team, about 20 persons who are different experts from different approaches. And we also have a key person who goes to the family. And we have lots of meetings, we have lots of supervision, and we have lots of exchange of knowledge. And we was facing, changing in having different children during the time. We start with just the children with the low vision and with the blind children, and we become a center for the MDVI children. We realized that the model, we have, lots of experts who are working with the child and actually communicate, but we realize it's not enough. So we try to transform from interdisciplinary to transdisciplinary team. And I must say it's still a process. It's always a process because, teams are not born. We have to make teams. And teams members of a team have to know each other, have to work together, and have to have experience, knowledge, and willing to work on that way. I said it's not easy because we have to release our boundaries of our expertise and leave other knowledge to be part of our expertise and give others our knowledge to work with children and using, our expertise. It wasn't that easy. And it's still, when we have new member of the team who is therapist, for them it's strange, and we need time to convince him that that is a best way to work together with the family, because member of the families is also part of our team. So as Emily said, when she showed this slide with how many opportunities child has during the day with the parents, and this 60 or 30 or 120 minutes per week, for us, that is, this 60 of 120 minutes per week for our children is useless. We believe that because it's losing time. It's losing much more time going, you have to prepare your child to go for some therapy. It's about half an hour, then go and be there waiting a little bit, have these 60 minutes and come back. And what you get, actually, we don't know. So you get just a little. For our children, we think it's useless, but we know that parents need to go on that way, just to be sure that they have to experience that everyone has their own way. So if it's their goal, so they will go for it. So when we are setting our goals, we are doing that with the family. We try to do it and to have same goals, but sometimes it's not. So we try to convince them. So, but also you must know in which family you go, and every family has their own rules. So, and also we have key person, but we also have therapists who support our key person, not just with the knowledge, but also going with them together in a family and support them together. Is it transdisciplinary? We don't know, but we find it is useful for the families. So, and sometimes key person come to the therapist as a support to work with the family, with the child. So for us, why is it important to exchange knowledge and have knowledge from other disciplines? We just have one example, which is banal maybe, but if you have child who is sitting like this, if you are just physiotherapist and if you don't know nothing about other developmental areas, you will say it's because of that is motorical problem. If you are vision therapist, you will say, it is vision problem. I see there is no binocularity, and he's trying to make some binocularity. And maybe a speech therapist will say, maybe it's because he cannot hear. So I think that is one example where we have to think it can be all. And it can be, physiotherapists can, do some therapy and, okay, look straight, and then maybe child will lose vision on one eye. You don't know that. So if you are working with the children with more complex needs, you need to have more knowledge. So.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I mean, I would go on for long, but time is running. Yeah. So we can move now to Maria and to talk together about the evidence-based element in ECI. So, I mean, it's your question is about why it's evidence-based, how to make it individualized, and what's the role of training into that? So a simple question for you.
Thank you, Irene. I was so inspired by the video of Yiannis when he said something that was just so key to me. It just struck me right at the core. He said, one of the problems was they expected us to do this therapy at home and practice at home. And he's like, yeah, right. We are parents of very young children. And it just really struck me because we've been talking about this for so many years. Parents of young children, they're not going to go back and do homework or do therapy for homework, but they're really going to go by their daily life. And the daily life and daily activities and routines is just so individualized to each family. It's all about participating in family, community, and school activities. I think really participation is the crux of what we do as early interventionists. It allows the family to participate in the things that they want to participate in, to really go about daily family life. And we really think about this through the mission and key principles of early intervention. When I think about it, it really, the goal is to provide supports and resources that assist family members, that enhance their child's learning and development through everyday activities. And we do this knowing that young children learn best with familiar caregivers and familiar people in their lives, right? They have the most impact on that child's development. And what we're going for is really maximal intervention. Maximal intervention does not equal maximal services. One of the things we know from a lot of our surveys and research is families say early intervention was a very stressful time for me, right? Because I had all these people coming in and out, right? So we want to make their life simpler and easier and support them. And that's why we like that transdisciplinary approach where there's one primary service provider or key worker that supports with the family, with other disciplines coming in as needed, but with the presence of that key worker. I love that Emily called it a conductor, right? That person is the glue that holds everything together and makes sure all the parts are moving in synchrony and in harmony, and there's not a duplication. So families don't say, oh my gosh, early intervention was so stressful. I got a lot of help, but it was stressful for me, right? So we want maximal intervention, meaning that families through their everyday life, right? Through bathing time and feeding time and wake up time, they're implementing supports to really support their child's learning, which they're doing anyways, right? We're recognizing that all families have strengths, right? All families with the necessary supports can help their child develop and learn, and all means all. We're not excluding any families, right? Every family can do it. They're already helping their child develop and learn. We talk about also the early intervention process. It has to be dynamic and unique from the beginning all the way through the end, really based on the family's learning styles, thinking about adult learning principles. Not every family learns the same way, right? Adult learners are different. Some people want to read all about it. Another family might say, I want to see it. I want to see, what does it look like? Another family might say, you know what, I want to do it, and I want you to talk me through it. I want you to talk me through it, and I learn by doing, right? So we have to support families in the way that works best for them based on their needs, their learning styles, and that really is the key. In parallel, when we think about like uniqueness, we talk about families are not always there 100% saying, yeah, I'm on board, I could do this. It is individualized. The level of support a family may need and the level of resources is going to vary family to family because they're unique. Some families I've worked with in the past, they were like, you know what, I just need a little push, just a little push, just give me a little bit and I can kind of take it on from there. Other families are like, you know what, I need a lot of support initially. I need different modalities and then I can move forward. So when we think about our support, it's unique for every family because every family comes to us from a different place. Some families come to us, they've been traumatized, the diagnosis they may have received or the concern is so overwhelming that they don't see the end. You know what, we're not going to say like, no, you have to accept this diagnosis, but we're going to support them, right? We're still going to give them services. We're still going to support them based on where they're at the moment. They will get there. as an early interventionist for 25 years, I can guarantee you they will get there. But we have to support them. We have to work from where they're at. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm stopping.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. But we have 7 minutes. So I would go to Eljona. And maybe, I mean, if we're lucky enough, we can have a just final contribution from anyone of us. But yeah, so you do a program supporting families that are vulnerable in rural areas of Albania. I would like to know more about it, starting from what was there before you decided to go there?
Yes, thank you, Irene. And I have to say, I am privileged to share knowledge that is a knowledge not of myself, but the knowledge of a team that has been working for children with disabilities for a long time now. We are an organization that works in rural areas. And if for those of you who don't know rural Albania, it's mostly mountainous, it's mostly isolated, and families are vulnerable most of the time. So we were concerned, back in 2016, we were concerned to see what was the child disability prevalence in Albania, because we are concerned about the vulnerabilities that are created from discrimination of children with disabilities. And we did, together with Save the Children, a nationwide study to find out the child disability prevalence, not based on the biological model, but based on the biological, psychological and social model. So it was the first time in Albania to understand that the child disability was at 10.4% rate. And we also learned the most important finding was that 92% of those children did not access specialized services. So we said, okay, let's ask parents why. And parents said, we don't access specialized services because we cannot afford the services and because we cannot afford the transport to the services. So as World Vision, we said we will address both. And this is how Tunja Tieta, or Hello Life program, was born. And we said, if the child and the family cannot go to the services, we will bring the services to the homes of these children. And the program meant a team of specialists composed of physiotherapists, speech therapists, psychologists, and social worker would travel for 1 hour, for 2 hours, in some cases, from the town center to the homes of these children and these families, and would work with the child and would work with the parent of the child to support them and to support the development of the child. Of course, based on an assessment, based on an individual development plan and so forth. So far, 267 children have received the support. And we are proud to see some stories of transformation there. We have seen children improving their abilities, improving their communication skills, improving their interaction with parents and with others and with therapists. And we've seen improved mobility in children. But there have been challenges, and I would agree with my colleagues here that some of the challenges, I would not repeat those because it's practically, I can see a similar trend there. But if I would make, let's say, a summary of what are the learnings and what are the call for action that we have as World Vision, is first of all, it's trust. It's about human connection. We are getting into people's homes here. We're talking, it's family-centered, it's very important, but they are opening the door to us to care about their children. So trust and human connection are very important. Unity among all the people that should be involved is very important, but a commitment and a persistent mobilization of resources, human, financial, and infrastructure is very important here. Because funding from central government is never enough. Funding from the local government definitely is not enough. Funding from the donors is not enough to support the human, financial, and infrastructure that is required for these programs. So we are finding this over and over important. We have to be persistent and to commit. It needs a clear and deliberate intent to ensure the resources. And here in Albania, with the program, we have tried to involve the private sector as well. the individuals, the citizens within Albania and outside of Albania to support the program, but it's not enough. So we need to make that action. And in the end, I would also say go further. Care about the child, care about the family, but go further in other layers, such as policy making that would ensure that family-centered is actually embedded in the policies. And in our case, we made sure that the standards for the mobile services to these children, and actually to the persons with disabilities, were adopted from the Ministry of Health and Social Protection. So go further, don't stop there.
Thank you so much. This was, I think, a very comprehensive overview. I think moving from the theory that we heard in the first part to the practice, and I think also a very good introduction to the next panel, where we will look into what a system needs to offer to services for them to provide the better support to families. We heard about funding, we heard about law, we heard about training. So I am sure that in the next session, we will know more about all these elements. And now I will invite Tim to give you some information about the coffee break.